Hey everyone, and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm back with another update coming out from the war between Russia and Ukraine, and I've got a very big lineup of news to share with all of you today. Today's date is July 23rd, 2025, and it's Wednesday. Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and I hope you're all having a wonderful day today. Lots of news to cover. Let's go ahead and jump right into today's update with this war. We'll start out with a major report out of Russia, again in the Rostov Oblast. I think it's 2 times this week we've talked about major strikes in the Rostov Oblast, just over the border of Ukraine from Ukraine's Donetsk region. We have reports of a Russian railway coming under attack again. 2 different railway stations in the Rostov Oblast attacked just this week. Let's start off with this report here on your screen. Ukraine slams a railway station in Rostov Oblast overnight with drones. Ukrainian drones reportedly struck the Russian city of Novocherkassk in Rostov Oblast on July 22nd, while a Ukrainian official said that a railway hub used by the Russian military was attacked. Yes, another railway station attacked overnight. This was according to Andriy Kovalenko, the head for the Center for Countering Disinformation out of Ukraine. He's stating that Ukrainian drones directly struck this railway hub. And just 2 days ago, I think it was on Monday, we had a report of another Russian railway station in the settlement of Kamenolomny, if I'm saying that correctly. We just reported on that. Now we've got this other city of Novocherkassk being attacked as well. And it looks like the railway station was the main target. And I think what Ukraine is trying to do right now is to stop a lot of Russian logistics coming into the country. That's why we're seeing these key railway stations being attacked. We also have reports of a local power plant that was attacked. That's the photo you're looking at here on your screen. It allegedly took at least one direct hit. And we also have a Rostelecom building, which is one of Russia's largest telecommunications companies. That was also reportedly attacked as well. I've got pictures of major damage to that building today. We even have a story out of Ukraine's Zaporizhzhia region in the city of Melitopol just yesterday evening. We had a major Russian ammunition depot that was destroyed over there. Massive fire reported in that area. I'll show you guys the video footage coming out from there. And then we also have another round of negotiations that are expected today in Turkey between Ukraine and Russia. Delegations from both sides have arrived, and they are expected to hold talks today, I think sometime this evening. We don't have too much information on that just yet, but I'll show you guys what I do have as they are expected to speak today. So let's go ahead and jump into this. Lots of reports to cover in today's update. We'll start off over here on X with Max25. Drones attack on Russia and Crimea, map from Drone Bomber. So here's the map coming out last night from Telegram channel of Drone Bomber, showing the trajectory of these different drones going into Russian territory. You can see a lot of them heading up on over here towards Moscow again. If this map were to continue more north, just beyond the Tula region right here, Moscow would have been up here. And yeah, drones heading that direction, but I'm not sure exactly what they were going after. Don't have any reports of any explosions or anything like that in the Moscow region, but most likely that's what those drones were going for. But primarily, we're going to start off talking about the Rostov Oblast. We can see a lot of these drones entering into the Rostov region here, and the city of Rostov-on-Don, just a little bit northeast, is where the Novocherkassk city is located at, and that's allegedly where we have a lot of these explosions and videos coming out from this attack on this railway station. So we're primarily going to talk about this region down here, southwestern area of the Rostov Oblast. So let's move on to another one from War Translated. A logistical railway hub in Russia that connects key strategic directions, Rostov-on-Don, Voronezh, Volgograd, and Kamensk-Shakhtinsky, has been attacked. This hub, located in Novocherkassk in the Rostov region, is used by occupiers to transport military equipment, ammunition, and fuel for Putin's terrorist army to the Ukrainian border. So yeah, this video footage is going to show a major explosion here from a Ukrainian drone allegedly on this railway station here located in the city of Novocherkassk in the Rostov Oblast inside of Russia, and it will have subtitles here on the screen. I do apologize, it will have a little bit of profanity as well, so take a look at this.
Бля, по ЖД вокзалу бахнули.
Мне кажется, это не бахнуло, мне кажется, это въебало на ЖД вокзале, что-то это. Там же газ наполнительный на той стороне.
Не знаю, за... Жутко. Мне кажется, сейчас еще будет... Ой, где-то еще одна соборе. Бахает.
Дай бог, стекла полетят в глаза нахуй. Слышишь?
Слышу.
Уходи.
Бля, по ЖД вокзалу.
So we can see a massive explosion here on this railway station. And yeah, according to these residents here located in the Rostov Oblast, they were able to capture this, and they're stating that it was a direct strike on the railway station. So that kind of confirms what Andrei Kovalenko was stating today, the head for the Center for Countering Disinformation out of Ukraine. He's stating that there was a direct hit on this railway station and it was attacked today. So there's the video confirmation right there. Not sure if we have a halt of military supplies again. We did have this report on Monday that the settlement of Kamenolomny that was attacked. We had a railway station that was hit over there, and there were reports that anywhere from like 4.5 to like 10 hours there was delays of a lot of trains, passenger trains, and also military trains as well. So I haven't been able to find out that information today as of yet, if we do have a halt on supplies through this terminal. But if I get that information, I will let you guys know. But it looks like we possibly had a direct hit here, according to this video. All right, now from Raging 545. Last night, Ukrainian drones attacked the power station in Novocherkassk, Rostov region. Several explosions were recorded and power has been knocked out for a large area east of Rostov. Okay, so we got a few videos we can show you guys here. This first video is going to show a direct strike on this power plant. We've got another video showing another direct hit on something else inside of Novocherkassk. I'm not sure if it was the actual power plant being hit in this video. We got a picture here of the power plant on fire, and then we also have a map to show you as well. Let's go to jump into this first video.
Ух, долбануло, пиздец. Ебать. О, второй. Нет, это трассирует. Ух, долбануло, пиздец.
So it looks like we had a local resident over here capturing the destruction of a Ukrainian drone slamming into this power plant over here. You can see these kind of smokestacks right here located at this power plant. Then we had that massive explosion from a Ukrainian drone. So a direct strike there on that power plant. One more video coming up.
Вот он, ух ты, на ЖД вокзал уебал. Охуеть. Да вот.
All right, another pretty wild video right here. We got a Ukrainian drone incoming and slamming into something over here that's possible it could be that power plant. Kind of looks like we see a smokestack over there, but it's really hard to tell. It's kind of far away from this video, but something definitely got struck over here also in the city of Novocherkassk. So we got a picture here that we had for you guys on the waiting screen. We'll kind of pull it up a little bit bigger so you can see. Looks like the top of this building definitely took a direct hit, and maybe looks like we got some windows over here and a possible fire that broke out there on the side of that building. So I'm not sure how many times this power plant got hit, but for sure at least one time, according to the videos that we were seeing today and the pictures like this. So here's a map also coming out from the Rostov region. So as I mentioned earlier, the city of Rostov-on-Don, it was just a little bit northeast up here in the settlement of Novocherkassk is where we're having this major attack today. And again, the primary target was this railway station, but we also had this power plant being attacked and also Rostov Communications building as well being hit. So moving on to another update from Ukrainian Review. Novocherkassk and Rostov region after massive drone attack overnight. Strike on railway station, power plant, and Rostelecom building. So here's pictures coming out from the alleged Rostelecom communications building, again used for digital services or telecommunications in this area. Ukraine attacking more infrastructure for the Russians, and most likely, Russia's military using this communications building for their military. We have like some shrapnel that was thrown all over the ground, damage to these buildings over here. Look at that. It looks like this possibly took a direct hit from a Ukrainian drone on the side of this building, blowing out a huge hole here in some of the windows as well. Pretty insane. There's one more picture of shrapnel that was hitting the ground after these explosions. So major hit over here in the city of Novocherkassk in the Rostov Oblast. Now let's move on to another update from Knoll Reports. A video has surfaced showing the detonation of a Russian ammunition depot near occupied Melitopol. Here's video coming out from Melitopol today. Okay, this is an occupied territory inside of Ukraine, southern Ukraine in the Zaporizhzhia region. Getting close to the Black Sea and Crimea. And allegedly Ukraine carried out some sort of strike over here, maybe with a drone, I'm not sure. We had some sort of ammunition depot that the Russians were using, struck and destroyed. I mean, look at all that smoke there. massive explosion. This was being reported yesterday afternoon inside of Ukraine. Okay, so major hit by the Ukrainians. Now for Bliskovka, the Ukrainian delegation has arrived in Turkey, according to Suspilne. First, it will meet with Turkish representatives in Ankara, and later will arrive for negotiations with the Russian Federation in Istanbul. Meanwhile, Kremlin spokesman Peskov once again stated that Kyiv has not lifted the ban on negotiations with Putin. Okay, that was a statement from Dmitry Peskov today, the Kremlin spokesman. But yeah, as far as we know, we're supposed to be seeing Ukrainian and Russian delegations meeting today inside of Istanbul once again for another round of talks, and we'll see what happens today. I'm not expecting much to come from it, but we did hear yesterday that there's possibly going to be some sort of prisoner exchange. I think I have information on that today. So that's a positive thing coming out from these talks. But aside from that, who knows how things are really going to go down when Ukraine and Russia starts negotiating. Now for Max 25, Zelensky says Russian drones hit the energy infrastructure due to damage to facilities. More than 220,000 subscribers in the Sumy region were left without electricity. As of now, electricity has been almost completely restored for the Sumy region. Ukrainian representatives at the negotiations today in Turkey will again insist on the need for an immediate and complete ceasefire, including such strikes on civilian infrastructure. All right, so Zelensky reporting today, we had another a set of energy infrastructure in the Sumy region up in northeastern Ukraine, just over the border from Russia's Kherson Oblast, that was allegedly struck, and we had 220,000 people without electricity over there. This is something we've heard many times inside of Ukraine. The Russians repeatedly do this, striking civilian infrastructure inside of Ukraine. So it looks like they got the power back online, but I guess they're going to be trying to push for some sort of ceasefire on, civilian infrastructure inside of Ukraine. So we'll see how that goes. But that was a statement regarding the talks today that are supposed to be ongoing in Istanbul, okay? So now from NOAA reports, according to Ukrainian sources, a new prisoner exchange between Russia and Ukraine is expected to take place today. Further details remain undisclosed at this time. All right, so we should be hearing also again some sort of prisoner exchange taking place today, possibly. I haven't heard that information yet. But we were hearing about this yesterday, that they were expecting to set up some sort of prisoner exchange with Russia again here very soon. So it's possible it could be today, maybe tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. If I get information on that, I'll share that with you guys in a later video. Now from next, Ukraine loses first Mirage 2000 fighter jet. Pilot survives. A Mirage 2000 military jet has crashed in the Volyn region. First loss of this type of aircraft since they were delivered to Kyiv. According to Ukraine's Air Force, the cause was a technical malfunction. The pilot reported the issue and managed to eject. He acted professionally and required in crisis situations. France delivered the first Mirage 2000 jets to Ukraine in February 2025. These lightweight, maneuverable fighters are primarily designed for interception and ground strikes. Okay, so this was being reported yesterday evening. You can see the sun was already starting to go down here. This is allegedly a photo of this Ukrainian Mirage 2000 fighter jet. Okay, these are fighter jets that were given to Ukraine by France months ago. And apparently something happened, some sort of malfunction or something. This jet went down, and thankfully we had the pilot here ejecting safely. He was rescued, and he is okay as far as I know. But it looks like Ukraine lost their first Mirage 2000 fighter jet. So I'm not really sure exactly what happened. Apparently there's some sort of investigation ongoing right now. This is kind of just a photo to show what these things look like. And many of you probably know about this, these Mirage 2000 fighter jets that have been delivered to Ukraine. They've been using these for months now. Allegedly, the first one has been lost. Not sure if it was shot down or what happened, but if we get information, I'll let you know on that as well. Now from Aurora Borealis. 2 children were injured by the Russians in Kherson region. During the night, the enemy shelled the village of Zorivka, part of the Belozerka community. A 13-year-old boy and girl were caught in the attack. So it looks like we had a massive attack over here in the Kherson region of Ukraine, just down in southern Ukraine, close to Crimea. And this is an area that gets shelled a lot. Lots of artillery, FPV drones attack this area. We hear lots of reports of FPV drones attacking people in the streets, just literally chasing kids sometimes down the streets. The Russians are just absolutely terrifying the public inside the city of Kherson. And it looks like we had more strikes down here, and unfortunately, we may have had 2 children that were injured in these attacks as well. So very sad to report out of Ukraine today. Now from France 24 English, protesters rallied across Ukraine Tuesday, and President Zelensky signed a law tightening control over key anti-corruption agencies. Critics warn it threatens their independence, risking EU ties and billions in Western aid. Here's the report today from France 24. Zelensky faces major protests after signing bill targeting anti-graft bodies. All right, so this is a big topic inside of Ukraine right now. These are pictures coming out from Kiev. Lots of people protesting. I've been hearing thousands of people are over there protesting this bill that has been signed into law by Zelensky. So, yeah, basically what's going on here, from what I understand, there's 2 major anti-corruption agencies that were originally independent, and this law will basically bring them in control under the government. And Zelensky stating that the reason why they're doing this, they're trying to root out any corruption from FSB agents, basically from Russia, that maybe there's some Russia collusion going on with some of these agencies. That's basically what I understand from that. But allegedly, many people are worried that this will risk ties to the EU and possibly billions in Western aid that goes into Ukraine. So that's definitely a major problem for a lot of people over there. We've got a couple more reports here talking about this. So from NOLA Reports, SBU Chief Vasil Malyuk met with G7 ambassadors defending recent actions against anti-corruption bodies, NABU and SAPO, by stating the agency will continue rooting out Russian agents in all Ukrainian state bodies. No institution is exempt, he said, adding that NABU must be cleansed of hostile influence and that solid evidence has been gathered against suspected staff. So again, that's what the Ukrainian government is stating. That's the reason why they're bringing it under their control, so they can monitor it and root out Russian agents that might be within these Ukrainian state bodies for this anti-corruption, or these anti-corruption agencies, excuse me. So this was a talk today between top heads out of the Ukrainian government and G7 ambassadors, okay? And then also from Oz Katerji. Large protests in Kiev tonight, the first signs of public dissent against Zelensky's government since the full-scale invasion, as demonstrators rally against the passing of a bill stripping anti-corruption bodies of their powers. Here's a picture coming out from Kiev. I think this was yesterday afternoon, actually, as thousands of people were gathering in Kiev, and some of the first times we've ever seen really any protests inside of Ukraine. It looks like many people standing up in response to this bill being signed by Zelensky, and a lot of people really not happy with this decision. Now for Max 25, Russia is trying to destabilize the situation in Ukraine through protests, according to Ukraine's GUR. That's their military intelligence directorate. The goal is to sow chaos inside the country and discredit Ukraine in the West. Provocations inspired by Moscow are not excluded. Okay, so yeah, allegedly Ukraine's GUR reporting today that maybe the Russians have something to do with some of these protests. They're trying to encourage people to get out, to put pressure on the Ukrainian government. I mean, we know that that Putin's been calling for Zelensky to resign for a long time. He wants Zelensky out so they can get a different government in there that's maybe even more pro-Russian. So yeah, Ukraine's GUR reporting today that Russia's trying to destabilize the situation with these protests in Ukraine. Okay, so not good news, but at the same time, I think it's good to see the Ukrainian people getting out there and protesting for what they believe in, and that shows that they've got democracy in their country as well. You know, compared to other countries like Russia, you'd probably never see that happening over there. So it is good news, but at the same time, definitely some struggles for the Ukrainian people and another hurdle for them to get through. Now from NOLA Reports, Ukraine has already ordered over 3 billion UAH worth of Interceptor drones, Defense Minister Shmyhal announced. 4 state contracts have been signed with domestic producers with a focus on countering Russian Shaheds. Talks are ongoing to secure financing and scale up production. Some more talks about Ukraine really heavily investing in these Interceptor drones. This is one project here. I believe this is called Odin, O-D-I-N. And they've been massively producing lots of these Interceptor drones. There's lots of countries getting involved in the production of these as well. And these are used to shoot down incoming Shahed and Garand-type drones that Russia uses to fire into Ukraine. We've been hearing that these are very successful lately. And looks like they're putting in over $3 billion worth of production for these Interceptor drones. So they're really highly investing in these right now. Now, from NOAA reports, Ukraine's top commander Oleksandr Syrsky has urged the Trump administration to lift restrictions on U.S. weapons and send longer-range missiles. In an interview with the Washington Post, he said Ukraine needs ATACMS, Patriots, and more air defense to hit Russian targets directly and deter further attacks. Syrsky defended last year's Kursk operation as crucial, saying it inflicted 80,000 Russian casualties. So here's a report today. Ukraine's top commander asked Trump to help take the war to Russia. Okay, so we got Oleksandr Syrsky right here, the commander of Ukraine's military. He's coming out and calling on Trump to start sending them weapons that they need to go on the offensive against Russia. Now, I think this is interesting because what we've been seeing throughout this entire week is Ukraine is really hammering Russian railway systems inside the Rostov Oblast, just like we talked about earlier. And it makes me wonder if what Ukraine is trying to do right now is cut off Russian logistics, and maybe they're doing this because they're planning a major offensive here very soon. On top of the reports that we could be seeing literally within days by the end of the month, we could be having German-funded missiles flying into Ukraine. We've been talking a lot about that. Possibly even missiles coming from the U.S. Very big possibility. We've heard that, maybe Trump could be supplying long-range missiles to Ukraine as well. So could we be seeing that very soon? And on top of that, Ukraine's got their own ballistic missiles, the Sapsan system we've been talking about recently. And I think that could be the next plan here. Maybe we're going to see missiles flying into Russia, major pressure being put onto Vladimir Putin with those missiles. Then at the same time, will Ukraine launch a counteroffensive because Trump was actually calling on Zelensky to do so? And then on top of that, Russian logistics are getting cut off right now with these attacks on railway stations. So let me know what you think. I think that could be a very big possibility here in the near future. Now, Max 25 BAE Systems has secured a $9 million contract for the inspection and full combat readiness of Bradley fighting vehicles. These funds will be directed within the framework of the USAI for the 2025 fiscal year. It is noted as the first official military aid provided to Ukraine during Trump's second presidential term. Okay, this is a very big report. Trump's first aid to Ukraine, the U.S. signed a $9 million military contract. All right, so we've seen very little aid, if anything, going to Ukraine from the Trump administration. We just recently started to hear over the last week or so they're going to be supplying aid over to Ukraine, but not necessarily directly through the U.S., that the EU would be funding it or NATO would be funding it, NATO countries in Europe, that is. So yeah, very big news is the first contract here. $9 million for the inspection and full combat readiness of Bradley fighting vehicles inside of Ukraine. We know Ukraine does use these over there. These came from the U.S., and they're obviously going to be needing repairs and whatnot. So it looks like a $9 million contract has been signed from BAE Systems out of the U.S. So that's very good to see. Hopefully we see more of that in the future. Now from next to Ukraine will not receive the promised Patriot systems from Trump until the spring of 2026. The first system will take at least another 8 months to arrive, writes Spiegel. Recall, the European countries are supposed to give their batteries to Ukraine in exchange for new ones from the U.S., and now everything depends on the commitments from the Americans, explains Germany's Defense Minister Boris Pistorius. Germany is in first line for a replacement. It will receive a new battery only in the spring of 2026. Other countries will have to wait even longer. All right, so this is not good to hear. This is a major report coming out today also that Ukraine might not receive any of these promised Patriot air defense systems until the spring of 2026, even though Trump was just saying, like a week ago, that literally within a week or so, or maybe 2 weeks, that Ukraine was going to start receiving these air defense systems from the U.S., and they were supposedly going to be transferred from EU countries or NATO countries in Europe over to Ukraine, and then the U.S. was going to be backfilling these supplies that head over to Ukraine. So I know that these Patriot systems are in very short supply. Many countries need them. The Interceptors are even in shorter supply. Ukraine is exhausting a lot of these Interceptors very quickly due to Russian attacks, so there's not a whole lot of supply to go around. So it makes me wonder if maybe Trump was just saying that and Ukraine's really not going to be receiving all this equipment as soon as we think. But yeah, just statement coming out today, or reports regarding this. It could be until spring of next year before they even receive one of these. So we'll see how that goes. Now, Savchenko Volodymyr, U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson said Washington does not want to be drawn further into the war in Ukraine. It's gone on for too long. Too many innocent people are dying, and we don't want further American involvement in this at all. But I do think that NATO is doing, and our allies around the world, it may be effective. I think we've all had enough of it. We hope it comes to an end soon. We trust the commander-in-chief. He's restoring peace through strength. So not the best statement coming out in terms of support for Ukraine. It looks like maybe the U.S. House might not be as supportive of sending military equipment to Ukraine. There's been lots of reports about that the U.S. might be helping out, according to Trump. But we know that a lot of that's going to be funded through NATO countries inside of Europe. But yeah, this was just a statement that the U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson was making today regarding the war in Ukraine. And we know that Trump is trying to end this war. He's been talking about it for a long time. Just wanted to share that with you as well. That's the statement from the House Speaker today. Now for Max 25, the United States does not plan to strictly adhere to Trump's September deadline for a settlement in Ukraine, said State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce. According to her, the adjustment of the deadlines will be judged as the negotiations progress. Okay, so this is interesting. So this makes me wonder, is the whole 50-day deadline ultimatum for Vladimir Putin not really on the table anymore? It makes you wonder, could they extend this date? Based on what we've seen from Trump, he's willing to, to extend it. Okay, he said many times, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. We're going to give Vladimir Putin 2 weeks, and it's already been months at that point, right? And we haven't seen, Trump really make any major moves on Russia. So maybe they're planning to see what's going to happen with these negotiations. Are they going to be more serious around this time? I'm thinking most likely not. If anything, the Russians will just make more demands to Ukraine for them to surrender, like they have been stating for a while. But we'll see how that goes. But yeah, allegedly this 50-day deadline or ultimatum for Russia that Trump gave to Putin just like a week or two ago might not be as serious as we think. Now for Visioner, Russia plans to change its conscription system. Instead of traditional spring and autumn drafts, the State Duma intends to legalize conscription throughout the entire year. Need more cannon fodder? Question mark is what Visioner says. So yeah, allegedly what we're hearing is that the State Duma, pretty much the parliament out of Russia, they're thinking about legalizing conscription throughout the entire year instead of just having 1 or 2 drafts in the spring and then the autumn, which is typically what Russia does. They're thinking about doing that through the entire year, and that possibly means that they need more troops. We know that the Russians have been taking on massive losses in this war in Ukraine. They're moving very slow on the front line. Ukraine is just destroying the Russians on the front line with drones. We've been hearing a lot about that as well. So yeah, it looks like Russia could be taking some moves to try to conscript more people into the military, as maybe they're having more shortages, what I'm thinking. Now from Ukrainian Review, Russia launches massive naval drills across 4 seas. According to Reuters today, Russia kicked off its July Storm military exercise on Wednesday involving over 150 warships and 15,000 personnel across the Pacific, Arctic, Baltic, and Caspian Seas. Running from July 23rd to the 27th, the drills will test fleet readiness for unconventional missions, long-range weapons, and advanced technologies, including drones, according to the Defense Ministry. All right, so Russia holding major exercises here with their military over the next few days from July 23rd, starting today until the 27th. Just want to let you guys know about this as well, okay? Lots of different warships being involved here. 150 warships, 15,000 personnel. So across multiple different seas on the planet. Major exercises being held by Russia right now. Now from Geo Insider. New, after Lithuania reported increased GPS interference, Finland now confirms a rise in GPS and AIS disruptions, in the Gulf of Finland and the Baltic Sea this summer. The Finnish Coast Guard reports that Russia is actively jamming navigation signals, causing ships to lose GPS positioning and disrupting AIS data, likely to conceal movements of sanctioned Russian oil shipments. These signal disruptions have increased notably during the warmer months, expanding west of the Hanko Peninsula. Sailors are warned not to rely solely on GPS and are advised to use radar, visual navigation, sea charts, and compasses, especially near the Russian border, to avoid dangerous situations. So yet again, more reports that the Russians in Kaliningrad, which is a small piece of land that's owned by the Russians that slammed in between Poland and Lithuania. It would have been more south here on the map if this map were to continue down. Yeah, we've been hearing about this for months now. I just reported this just the other day. We were talking about this, that there's just major GPS jamming going on over here in the Baltic nations. Pretty much all the Baltic nations and Finland even now is reporting major GPS jamming coming out of Kaliningrad. There's been lots of reports that we could see some sort of accident. Now, hopefully we never do that. We could have ships colliding with each other because they can't monitor where each other are at, with GPS. Same thing with aircraft as well. And NATO has come out and warned also that this could possibly be a spark of a major war, maybe. And NATO could respond and call it an act of war if we maybe have some sort of accident due to this GPS jamming that Russia is doing in Kaliningrad. So again, yet more reports that the GPS jamming is very dangerous. Now from Kiev Independent, he sees Trump as emotional and susceptible to influence. Putin not worried about 50-day ceasefire deadline, Guardian reports. So that kind of ties into what we were just talking about regarding that report today that Trump, might maybe extend the 50-day deadline, might make it shorter. We don't really know. Trump said that he would make it flexible depending on the situation. He did mention that at one point it could be less than 50 days. But in terms of extending it, could we see that happen again? Putin believes that we could see it extended, or maybe this deadline is not even a real deadline, that Trump's just coming out and stating this because he believes that Trump is emotional and susceptible to influence to maybe other decisions within his cabinet and the government. So looks like Vladimir Putin not very worried about this ceasefire deadline. Now from NOLA reports, Russia launched 71 Shahed type and decoy drones overnight from Kursk, Milarovo, Primorsko-Akhtarsk, and occupied Crimea. Ukrainian air defense shot down or suppressed 27, with another 18 neutralized by electronic warfare. Okay, so probably some of the lowest numbers we've seen of Ukraine actually shooting down at these drones. Look, they only shot down 27 out of 71. Much lower numbers today. 18 being suppressed by electronic warfare, which is good as well. So it could have been possibly 50 or so that were taken down out of the 71, but apparently we had a good amount of them still striking inside of Ukraine, and we did have those reports down in Kherson of shelling over there. Not sure if that was due to drones. It could have been, but most likely it was the Russians attacking with artillery or drones, FPV drones in that area. So there you go, guys. 71 drones going into Ukraine overnight. Now from Kiev Independent, these are the indicative estimates of Russia's combat losses as of July 23rd, according to the Armed Forces of Ukraine. In our final update, Russia's losses as of July 23rd, 970 troops, 2 AFVs, 88 vehicles and fuel tanks, 3 tanks, 42 artillery systems, 115 UAVs, and 1 MLRS, and that's it. Okay, so very low numbers today, probably some of the lowest we've seen in a while. Only 970 troops, AFVs and tanks, very, very low numbers, less than 5 for both. 88 vehicles and fuel tanks, about average we've been seeing. Same with artillery systems, and 1 MLRS being destroyed. I think we've been seeing consistently over the last 3 or 4 days at least 1 MLRS or an anti-aircraft warfare system being struck or destroyed. That's what we've been seeing recently. So yeah, guys, there you go. There's your updates in terms of Russian losses as of today, July 23rd. And I want to thank you very much for tuning in for this update today. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know what you think about all these details down below in the comment section. But that's going to be it for today's update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.